My roommate, Allie, female 25, is and has been dating her married coworker, Jessie, female 39, for at least 6 months. Jessie has been with her husband, male 41, for 6 years, and the two have a 4-year-old daughter together. Allie and I, female 23, live with one other girl, Kayla, female 26, who has been friends with Allie since they were kids. Prior to moving in together, Allie told Kayla that she was seeing someone, her married coworker. Kayla's always been terrible with keeping secrets, so she immediately told me. At first, it just seemed like gossip, but I realized the severity of it all. And I realized it could potentially affect me, as I don't want to be involved in any lies. I asked Kayla if Allie would ever talk about it with me, and she told me that I had to pretend to not know. We've all been living together for about 3 months now, and I can count on one hand the amount of time I've actually seen Allie at our house. I hear our front door open around 10 p.m. and again around 4 a.m. almost every day, since she sneaks off to see Jessie during the night. She will agree to plans with us, but cancel last minute because of work things, which Kayla and I know is code for seeing her girlfriend. I've asked Allie why she doesn't come home anymore and if I've done something to upset her, but she always has an excuse and says that something came up, but she's fine. I told Kayla that I'm worried about Allie and asked her, Kayla, if she'd talk to her since I'm not supposed to know anything. So one day we managed to get her to come home, and we went out for dinner. Before we left, I ran back into the house to give them time to talk while I pretended to look for something. I found out later that their conversation did not go well. Even when it was just the two of them, Allie didn't open up. I understand why she doesn't want to talk about it around me, but it doesn't make sense why she won't talk to Kayla. Kayla is worried that if she continues to push Allie, she will shut her out completely, and the little that we do know about her whereabouts and relationship will be gone. I don't have a strong relationship with Allie, so I'm not worried about keeping or breaking it. If I could have my way, I'd tell the husband or she'd end the relationship and come home, but I don't think that will happen. At the very least, I want to know that she's not putting us in danger and is being safe herself. I want to talk to her about it, but I know if I do, I could end the friendship between her and Kayla, since I'm not supposed to know this is happening. I'm also worried she will completely pull away and never open up to either one of us again. I feel selfish wanting to talk to her about this, because truly, it doesn't concern me. But with the way she's hiding everything, I can't help but worry about every little thing. I don't know what to do. Side info. The husband knows Allie. He thinks she is just best friends with his wife and will even have Allie over for dinner and have her watch their daughter sometimes. He also was in the military and is known to have bursts of anger due to his PTSD when overly stressed. I'm worried about Allie's safety if she's caught, but also about mine and Kayla's. I don't know how much he knows about her living situation, but I worry he may find out and come to our house looking for her. I know she doesn't want to tell us because she's worried about being judged or us wanting her to end it, but she's made countless excuses to justify why she's in this relationship, so at this point I can't tell if she knows it's wrong or not. Blinded by love, I guess. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Dude, move out. You're getting way too invested in someone else's relationship. You would absolutely be the idiot for confronting your roommate. You're not supposed to know, so ignore it, or better. Yet, ask Kayla to stop being such a shitty friend and telling you about it, because Kayla now doesn't sound like a reliable source based on your comments. It doesn't involve you. Stop trying to make it involve you. Comment 2. This makes it an unpopular opinion, but I have a hard time believing you are actually worried about anyone's safety or worried about doing what's right. This reads to me as if you are just nosy, chasing the drama, and maybe a little jealous you're not in on the inside scoop. Comment 3. I think you should stay out of it, especially since you don't know Allie, her girlfriend, or the husband. Honestly, it sounds like you are using the husband's PTSD as an excuse to involve yourself in a situation that doesn't involve you at all. Having PTSD is not the same as being a violent person. It seems far-fetched that he would come to your house and harm you or your other roommate. He knows Allie, so if he showed up at all, he'd know you aren't her. It's also weird to me in general that you'd care so much about where your roommate is and what she's doing. You're all adults and she isn't your friend. Now, for the update. And if you're enjoying the video, hit that like button. Poop hit the fan much sooner than I was expecting. It was Kayla's birthday yesterday, and Allie had promised to show up, but she canceled on the birthday dinner and party. So I heard yelling from the living room last night. Allie had stumbled in around 3 a.m. and Kayla had been waiting for her. I was not a part of this plan, nor aware, as I was literally asleep in bed moments before this happened. Kayla was yelling at Allie and crying, saying that she doesn't understand why Allie chose another girlfriend over their friendship again. Apparently, when Kayla and Allie had lived together in the past, Allie had done this before. She dated a woman and kept it a secret from everyone, except for Kayla. Allie had stopped coming home and had almost gone no contact, but Kayla refused to lose her. When she was screaming, Allie told her to quiet down since it was late, but Kayla said she didn't care who heard because everyone already knew what was going on. She told Allie that she'd told me about the affair because, at least then, someone else would know what kind of a person she was. So, things got heated. Normally, I would have gone downstairs and asked what all the ruckus was about, but as I've been told here many times, I stayed out of it. After Kayla said that, I heard a lot of crashing. Allie started screaming, "The kind of person I am?" over and over, and threw a bunch of our plates and glasses on the ground. At this point, I couldn't stay put anymore and went downstairs. Sorry. There was glass everywhere and Allie and Kayla were both sitting on the floor sobbing. I was scared, like really freaked out at that moment. But I sat down with them and said that we all needed to talk. So we did. And here's the story I got directly from Allie. Jessie wants to leave the marriage, but not due to abuse. She doesn't think she's fit to be a mother. Allie said that they seemed like a perfect little family for about a year. But then Jessie got depressed and started to distance herself from everyone, including her husband and baby. She hoped that as time went on, she'd grow closer to her daughter, but that wasn't the case. So she was looking for an escape from that. Even before Allie was involved romantically, she told her husband that she didn't want to see her daughter but didn't want a divorce. So, in what was supposed to be a temporary plan, he became a SAHD. She'd stay with her sister in the evenings night, go to work during the day, and come back to their house to see the daughter for a couple of hours before starting the cycle again. The husband didn't like the idea of her being away and not helping out, but they decided to give it a try. Being away did help her mood, and Jessie told Allie that she felt guilty for feeling better. I don't know how long they had planned to try this originally, but they're still doing the nightly routine, except she's now in her own apartment, which is why the husband may not have wondered about her whereabouts. And Jessie and her husband are currently going through individual and couples therapy, and she is getting help for her delayed and untreated PPD. Allie doesn't know how soon after they changed their living arrangements that the therapy or treatment started, so I can't speak on the timeline of that. Allie said that she was able to justify everything when she said it to herself, but that it was really difficult to admit out loud. She said that it was easy to do because Jessie already wasn't around her daughter, and if she was, the kid was too young to remember anyway. Her words, not mine. Kayla asked if the husband knew, and Allie cried and refused to answer for a long time. She said that it's clear the husband doesn't know. He's really hopeful that the therapy and medication will be able to bring his family home to him. Since Allie goes over to their house for dinners and to babysit the kids sometimes, she's gotten to know the husband and says that every time she sees him, she wants to run away and break it off because she thinks he's a really good guy. Allie told us that she knows it's stupid, but she wants to be the one chosen in the end. She said that even though Jessie loves her husband, she doesn't want to be a mother. Allie doesn't think the therapy will change that. Kayla asked her how long she is planning to be in this relationship with Jessie. She didn't have an answer. She said it wasn't about the time, but just wanted them to be together. She admitted that if the husband found out, she'd step away because she doesn't want to hurt him or the daughter. But if he never knew, she'd stay with her forever. Kayla brought up that Allie had a lot of nice things to say about the husband, when she'd said the opposite before. Allie said that she'd made up that he was an angry guy so Kayla would get off her back about things, and so she wouldn't have to feel so guilty. She said that if she could trick herself into thinking she was saving Jessie, she wouldn't feel so bad every time she saw him. While I understood, I was admittedly really frustrated at this point in the conversation because she made up something that genuinely, whether anyone believes me or not, made me fearful. Allie does know that Kayla and I both have history with an angry and abusive ex-boyfriend. So making up that Jesse's husband has violent outbursts just to get Kayla off her back and justify why she is in this affair really upset me. But I kept this to myself and tried to remain understanding since Allie was finally opening up. After she said that, we all just kind of sat there for a while. I don't know how long it was, but Allie spoke up and apologized. She said she was sorry to both of us for how she'd been acting. She didn't think about us when she was with Jesse, and every time she came home and didn't have a good excuse as to where she'd been, she felt uncomfortable and wanted to leave again. She apologized to Kayla for being a disappointing and bad friend and to me for these essentially being my first memories with her. She also said that while it was hard to admit, she appreciated the concern and said that it was eating her up having no one to talk about this with. She didn't say that she would end things, but she said she felt a lot better after talking through everything. She says she's in love, and as much as she knows it's wrong, she can't stop. I still don't think she should be in this relationship, especially now after hearing that Jesse and her husband are actively working on trying to be better, but I'll stay out of it as I've been told to mind my business. Now, for the final comments. Comment 1. Turns out Ally was the one prone to violent outbursts. Smashing stuff because you are ashamed of your own actions is not okay. I would definitely try to get out of there as soon as possible. Comment 2. Zero sympathy for Ally. I couldn't be friends with her, especially after hearing what she had to say. It would be condoning her behavior. At best, she is knowingly letting herself be manipulated by an older, married woman BC. She won't cut it off. But I'm more inclined to think the worst of her because she has no guilt about being complicit in an affair. Quite frankly, it's disgusting that she is friends with the husband and babysits the kid. Like that's some serious sociopathic traits showing themselves. This person is not a friend to anyone and should not be trusted. Someone freaking tells the poor husband. Comment 3. It sounds like Ally aggravated? Not sure of the correct verb here. Jesse's postpartum depression by supporting Jesse's distancing from her husband and daughter with the affair. But I'll happily let a professional tell me that I'm full of crap. But being a party to the cheating sucks in any case. Now, for the next story. So my girlfriend and I broke up last year and she moved out. I needed to get a roommate quickly and found one online after a bit of searching. He paid first in security and was signed onto the lease for September, with rent due the 1st of every month. Late September, he decided he's going back to school and getting financial aid from FAFSA. He also told me he's not getting a lot of hours at his job. I offer some suggestions. Mid-October hits, and I get a knock on my door. He asked me if I can pay the full rent in November, saying his FAFSA won't come in until mid-November. I was stunned by the request and said no. I told him to let the apartment complex know and also let them know myself. Mid-November hits, his FAFSA comes, and he pays rent late. He then comes home with a bunch of computer components to build himself a new gaming computer. Interesting timing, but you know what? As long as he pays rent on time, it's not my business. Late November, I got very sick, then him. December came, rent paid on time. Mid-January, I got a call from the office that we still have half the rent due. So I messaged him and he told me he was fired back when he got sick. Tells me that he has a new job but is still hurting for hours. The office gives me contact info for renter's assistance for him. I give it to him. He says they're out of money. He says he's paid on time for a while. Him. And asks if it's a problem. I texted him. I don't know. I need you to figure this out though. This affects me too and honestly is adding a lot of unnecessary stress that I got a roommate for specifically to avoid. Next thing I know, rent is paid. Yesterday, I saw an email saying that half the rent is not paid for February, and if it's not paid by the 19th, they'll start the eviction process. I immediately knocked on his bedroom door and asked him if he got the email. He said yes. I said, "You need to get your poop together or get the frick out." He said to me that he's paid every month, and it's my fault for getting him sick. Note that he asked me to cover rent once prior to him ever getting sick. So I corrected him by saying he's late half the time. I told him he's unreliable and that diminishes my trust in him greatly. I also asked what happened to the FAFSA money that he had. Did he use it to buy his expensive gaming PC, which typically I would say is not my business, but now it's affecting me? He says his girlfriend got it for him. He kept saying, "It's fine," to which I say, "I'm telling you it's not fine, and the fact that you keep saying it scares me more." I told him one last time, he needs to get his poop together and pay on time, or I need to find someone who can. I'm essentially threatening his home, which I hate doing, but I also feel like he's doing the same now to me. I could hear him in the other room cursing me out, but I'm just at my wit's end. He's going to get me evicted over this. So, am I the idiot for flipping out at him? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is not a complicated situation. You have to pay your rent on time, and so does your roommate. If that isn't possible for him, then he needs to find a different living arrangement. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I think you need to get him out and start to find a new roommate fast, like 10 minutes ago. Not only is an eviction a pain, it can show on your credit and make it difficult or impossible to rent another place. Your current roommate isn't reliable and I don't think is telling the truth. Your first stop might be to explain the situation to the leasing office and try and get their help, if they have the first last from him. The office, if they want to work with you, should be able to apply that last month to February, if you communicate the problem and if you can line up a replacement. Now for the update. Well, it's been a few months and I thought I'd finally give an update. Later that month, he decided to talk to me and tell me that he was moving out. Something about the person who was watching his dog was pregnant and couldn't watch him anymore, so he had to move, or whatever. Right. I asked how long until I moved out, and he said March 1st, roughly 10 days. I let him know that because he was still on the lease, that he was still on the hook for half the rent until I found someone. I'm sure no one is shocked that he did not pay, so now I'm looking for a lawyer. I was debating doing it all myself. I think I have more than enough evidence gathered. The fact that he was on the lease, records showing when he paid and how much, and when he stopped paying altogether, even me reminding him that he was still responsible for his share of the rent. But the filing end seems a bit tricky. I still haven't found a roommate and have been paying the entirety of the rent out of pocket, which has caused a lot of financial hardship. But I'm now extremely nervous about anyone that I meet as a potential roommate after this. Definitely feel a lot less like an idiot after all this, that's for sure. Now, for the final comments. Comment 1. Depending on the amount owed and the proof that you paid the rent, you can go into small claims court without needing a lawyer. Then another commenter replied with, "But you can win in small claims court but still face the challenge of actually collecting the money from him. Given this, OP should still do this and get the claim against him established. Then haunt him, any of his employers, etc. to get paid." Then the original poster responded with, "Yeah, I would really be surprised if I need a lawyer for any court proceedings, but I'm struggling with finding reliable information to help me get the claim filed. Otherwise, I don't really see a need for a lawyer. It would be much better if I could figure out how to file on my own." Comment 2. Geez, talk about a roommate from hell. I'm so sorry, OP. I hope you find someone way more reliable this time around. Then the original poster responded with, "Honestly, I've been incredibly lucky with roommates in the past. This was my only bad experience with one, but he made up for all my good luck in a big way with all this." Comment 3. Not the idiot. But a small claims court is most likely the venue you are seeking. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.